I'm really excited to just introduce our next panel. So up first, we have Limor Bergman Gross. Limor is part of the Power to Fly team. She's our own director of mentorship. Previously, she served as director of cloud computing and engineering as an engineering manager at DigitalOcean. She volunteers with Plato, where she mentors managers and leaders. And Limor has spent more than 10 years leading teams and organizations of different sizes to help them build great culture, innovate, and ship products. Limor is going to be in conversation with Shahr, Grauman, and Laxmi Valuri. Would you all like to take the stage and turn it over to you, Limor?
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Meg, as always. Hi, Laxmi. How are you?
Good. And how are you? So welcome. I'm very excited. And I would love to start the session by having you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Absolutely. And Shahr, maybe you should start because I think Meg did a pretty good job in presenting me.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here. I'm a software engineer for a long time, and during my career, I been part of companies, and I work as software engineer. And then after I started and initiated 2 startups. And during all my way, I conducted the courses because I love to teach, and I love to teach minorities, of course, because I think that the lack of diversity in companies is shouting. So my passion is to code. My passion is to teach, and with Limor, we are trying to do a unique bootcamp that is called EqualToCode. And so we are here to talk about it.
Definitely. So can you tell us a little bit about what does EqualToCode do to make the career in software development pretty simple, and some of the background on the final conception of EqualToCode?
I don't know if to say pretty simple, but both me and Shahr are sharing the same mission. Both of us really want to change the tech world and get more women and underrepresented talent. And that's why we're doing what we're doing, obviously. The unique value proposition we have is that we don't just teach how to code. We give the people who participate the tools to learn independently and succeed. And we give them the practical knowledge that they need in order to get a job. We really focused on helping people find a job and not just learning a specific language.
That's, I think, absolutely fantastic. And for those of us who are listening in today, can you tell us a little bit more about the flow of how that works when somebody tries it for the very first time?
Shahr, do you want to take that, or do you want me to?
Yeah, start.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, it's a process, first of all, and it's a pretty intensive program. And what we do is we start by teaching, obviously, the basics. And as I said, throughout the course, we're teaching the women and the people who participate how to think at problems, how to solve problems, how to work independently, how to work together in teams, how to write a real project. We work in collaboration with companies, so the students really gain practical experience, not just work on a demo or a test project. They actually write code that companies use. We are really focused about giving them the full experience so they can find a job and have all the tools they need in order to succeed.
So a lot of practical experience.
Yeah, Shahr, ever missed anything?
No, great. Yeah, we are focused on practice, okay? Practical experience is the key feature for a good candidate, because the employers are looking for not just one who that can code, because every bootcamp out there, and you can open the YouTube and see it by yourself, everybody can learn some coding language or something like that. But the overall capabilities and the attributes that employers are looking for are much greater than just coding. Okay, so the practical experience and do a real project, because our our vision is to give our candidates and our students a real project. How we do that, as Limor said, we collaborate with companies and we do for them a real project during all the course. So we are getting to teams and we are manage them and we are giving them the real practice and real experience of doing a real project. So by the end of the course, they don't have just a demo, as Limor said, a test project. We have a real project they can be proud of and show, of course, and the company is taking this project and continue the project.
And that you mentioned some very good points. So the whole comprehensive package, and you're right. So I've tried by hand that quote unquote coding, and you're right. When I go online, it's not the same as having the job experience, the practical, and how do I relate it? I'm feeling marketable. And you mentioned the word good candidate. So what are there any specific eligibility criteria or things that you look for in order for the person to become part of this program? Any particular skills?
I think, as I mentioned, I mean, we're looking for people. First of all, there need to be a drive and motivation, right? If you ask people who went through different, experiences, doesn't matter which training or whatever, you need to have the motivation to succeed. Because a lot of that is on you and not just on us, right? We will give all the tools. So motivation and drive, people that like to solve problems, looking at problems and try to solve them. We do have a very detailed webinar that we're doing on Power to Fly. We did it like 2 weeks ago, and we'll do more of those that really try to give some more specific examples, which we don't have time to show today, but a way to look at problems and solve them, willing to learn, and ability to learn independently. This is very critical. And we'll share, I have a slide that we'll go through and share like all the things that we're going through and all the things that are important to employers.
Yeah. We'll elaborate about a few things that Julie just asked in the chat. So be patient.
So let's see. So I'll stop and take that question. So Julie, are there certain attributes that are important to have to be a software engineer? So.
Yeah, I think that let me just share a quick slide. I think that will be probably easiest just to kind of walk through that. So this is kind of, a part of a webinar that we do. And again, we'll schedule more of those on the Power to Fly. So check out Power to Fly events in the next following weeks, and you'll see this webinar, and we are diving in more details. But basically, the big question is, what do companies look for? Because this is the important question to ask, right? Because eventually you want to find a job. So obviously, everyone is looking for hands-on experience in something, in technologies, in development languages, and so forth. So this is one piece, but not the only piece that we teach you, right? We teach you full stack development. But the more important thing is we teach you to learn independently. And Shahr, feel free to chime in at any point. Yeah. Out of the box thinking, employers are looking for people who think about things differently, right? Who like to solve problems. Innovation is very important, right? Because the world is changing all the time, and employees need to think differently at problems. Problems of yesterdays are not problems of today and tomorrow. And agility, the world is moving so quickly, and people need to be able to adjust and move accordingly.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, out of the box thinking is very the key concept of a good developer, and you can develop and grow this ability. It's not just if you can think out of or you can't. Yeah, maybe if you haven't done it before, we will teach you how to think out of the box with real problems and real scenarios that you should cope with. So this thing that many developers or newcomers think that now I'm not so innovation and also agility person. This is wrong, because everyone can be taught of how to think like that.
We have a follow-up question from Lakshmi. It's very interesting that you give students role-time projects. Is it a paid program? And then she just wants further clarification on how a first-time applicant for the returnship can start with the program. So I know you look for certain qualities, but some sort of a application process, a little bit more information on that.
Lakshmi, I mean, we do have more information on our website. We'll share it in a minute. It is a paid program. I don't know about the relation to returnship, what exactly you refer to, but you're welcome to contact us. We'll share the contact info and we will be happy to speak with you and share more information.
And then the next question, you've sort of alluded to it, but for a tech novice, somebody, because it's such a vast field with so many frameworks, technicians, is there any specific advice you have on beginning the journey? Is it as simple as, if you have these qualities, go ahead and start? If you have the motivation, go ahead and start? Or do you have any additional advice for people completely new to the process?
I mean, I think that we kind of line here the main things that we feel companies are looking for based on our experience, both Shahr and myself, working for years in this industry. And I was hiring engineers also and managers. So all those things, right? I mean, having the experience you gain through learning and through, practicing yourself, through being involved in communities and in open source, volunteers, whatever. Teamwork is very, very important, because eventually you don't work on an island, you work with people. Ability to work independently is also a key. No matter what you learn at our training or a different training or in university, whatever, you always learn. You need to be a constant learner because technology evolves all the time. And students that graduate from our program, they say, well, I got the tools I need in order to learn new things. And that's what employers that's why I was hired, because, employers are looking for someone who can learn new things. When I was hiring, to my team, I didn't assume that someone knows everything, right? There was always things that they had to learn. So I was looking for people who are not afraid of challenges and are willing to learn new things. And obviously a can-do attitude is very important, because you need to be willing to find a way to make things work and to deal with challenges, right? Not everything is working on the first time. You're always going to have challenges. But as long as you keep on a positive attitude and you are, motivated to succeed, you will succeed.
Advice. I'm looking, okay, so we don't have a question from the audience. The next question, everything you've said has led me to believe that having a degree in computer science is not a must to go in that direction. But can you, and your program does give people actionable tips and how to get the skills to be employed. But for those who are seeking for other ways in which to connect with your network or opportunities to gain experience, do you both have any specific tips for people starting out in that field?
So you mean about computer science? Whether should you take it or not to get your first job?
So is that important, or does it help? And then also for those who are still looking to connect with your network or gain other opportunities, do you have any tips for them to start?
It's not a must. Computer science degree, it's not a must these days. Maybe if you were living 15 years ago, so a CS degree will be a must. But nowadays, working hands are pretty much valuable. Okay, so if you are, if I have two candidates, one of them is a computer degree, computer science degree, and the other one is like a graduate for a boot camp with those specific abilities are set up, let's say. So I prefer the one who can start working in a day or two. Computer science is great, but it's more theory and math than a real practice. And the outer world from the academic is very changing rapidly all the time. And you don't have the experience to start working. So the company should teach you all the things you need to do, all the things that we are teaching you for, let's say, 6 months. So if you have a candidate with 6 months experience and a candidate with just computer degree, the employer should do much effort with the computer degree candidate in order for her or him to get working, actually working. Okay, so as I said, nowadays it's not a must. Okay, if I can tell about myself that if I can take my years back, I wouldn't do computer science for the first place. I would graduate for a good boot camp, and later on, of course, I will do one, but it's not a must.
I just want to say that I would not reveal how old I am, but I can tell you that when I, basically in Israel, you have to go through a military service, but after I finished my military service and basically, you know, the only way to get a profession was to go to university. I don't have anything, by the way, against going to university and going to academia. I think there's still a place for that, but the world has changed so dramatically since then. As Shahr said, information, we have information overflow, right, online. You can learn things from YouTube. My kids go to YouTube and they learn. They always amaze me by how much they know. So there's abundance of information, and those boot camps that give you, we focus on practical tools, right? We give you the practical tools to find a job. And if you want to pursue a degree, you can. From my experience as a leader, I had people in my organization that didn't have a degree. I even had someone who was recruited still during high school. So definitely you don't have to, doesn't mean that you cannot pursue a degree. I see a lot of people that pursue a degree and after that go through a boot camp because they want to get the practical experience. When I graduated, I started working, I didn't know anything. I learned on the job. So as long as you are willing to learn, to put yourself out there and to learn independently, you'll succeed no matter what.
Yeah, and that ties back to what you were saying earlier too, that we can go online, we can get information, but it's the other things that your program's teaching that helps people get there. We do have a couple more comments. So Tia, hang on to your thought, great question. So Limor and Shahr will be sharing some information with us shortly. Hunter does have a question, and then I will turn it over to Limor and Shahr to give us the information for next steps and how we can support them. Hunter's question is, if you have any perspective on specific choice of programming languages, whether it's beneficial to be stack engineer, solely front end, back end, or what are your thoughts on learning cloud platforms such as AWS or Google? So here the question is more specific on whether there are particular things that you recommend in the technology world.
It's a great question, because this is the question that maybe is the most popular question about newcomers or candidates. Yeah, we are teaching JavaScript full stack. Okay, JavaScript is the most popular language in the world today. It's growing vastly all the time, and we are focusing on full stack. Full stack, it's front end and back end. So for whoever from you don't know the terms, it means that we are as a full stack. You know how to build a full website, including the back end, which handles the information, the database, and the front end, which is the presentation logic, which you see, like say, in the browser or in your phone. So whether you need to be a front end or back end, it should be up to you. But if you are just learning the front end, you are like the experience of what is the back end, and vice versa. If you are just focusing on the back end, you don't know what is the front end or what the needs of the front end or the other side, let's say. So there are two sides for the full stack. So we are teaching to be aware of all the information about handling a full website development, which is very important. Whether if you want to be learning AWS or Google, it's not related to our topic, because AWS and Google is just a platform to share and handle your code. It doesn't so relevant if you choose AWS or Google. There are many other platforms you can choose. But we are focusing on the full stack because we want you to be able to know how to handle and understand, really understand how a website is fully constructed. So our choice is our choice is JavaScript. There are lots of language out there, and it doesn't matter what to choose. Okay, so if you see Python or C# or whatever, it should be, the concepts are the same. Sorry.
Limor, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, as I mentioned before, technology is evolving all the time. And it doesn't matter what is relevant today, it doesn't mean that it will be relevant tomorrow. And throughout my career, I had to adjust, right, and to learn different things. And I worked, right, in back-end, in front-end, in, different part of the stack, low level. I worked on, very low level. I worked in cloud. As long as you are willing to adjust, you're willing to learn, that's okay. You don't need to worry too much about specifically front-end or back-end or Google Cloud or Amazon or whatever. I mean, there are always going to be tons of options. We give you the starting point and we give you the tools. This is the most important thing. We give you the tools to learn pretty much anything you want. And as you go, during the training already, some people realize why they like more, which is fine. But even if you don't, that's okay. You start working, you start gaining experience, and you can change that. It's not like, it's not fixed throughout your career. So don't worry too much and don't be overwhelmed because there's so many options, obviously. And until you try it, you don't know what interests you more.
Yeah, I can elaborate maybe a little bit more about it because my experience as a lecturer and conducting courses for a long time, I saw many students that started with the full stack and understood on the way that they love the front end more than the back end or vice versa. So it's up to you, and you can even find a job just in the one of those sides. And I saw lots of them which we taught JavaScript, let's say React, which is what we are teaching. But some candidate got a job in Angular, in other language, because the language is not so much important, okay? It's the concept and the real understanding of how a web is working. So you can shift between languages very easily by the end and during your career.
So in other words, if I have that foundation, then I can adapt as technology keeps changing. And you're right, because last year I was trying to figure out, okay, I wanted to learn the basics of some language, and I had everyone tell me, oh, it's Java, it's Python, it's this, it's that. And then the latest is blockchain and cloud. So great advice. So thank you. And then we have a few minutes left. So what I'll do is, if you can let us know, how can we connect with you and support you in your endeavors? I know a lot of people are very anxious to learn more about the link and the program. So if you want to put it into chat.
Yeah, so I think the slide is here, right? You see the slide with the email and the website, and you can find us on LinkedIn.
And our webinar, Limor, we should mention.
We'll do webinars. I'll work on scheduling more webinars through Power to Fly, where we dive a little bit deeper into some technical kind of exercises, fun exercises that we help kind of stimulate people to think about whether it's right for them or not. So definitely contact us. We'll talk with you. We'll help you answer any questions you have and figure out if this is the right program for you. We're not just looking to sign anyone up. Really, we're looking to sign people who are a fit, that we feel that we can help to. They have the motivation and they have what it takes to succeed. Because we want to help people find jobs. That's our success criteria. If they don't find a job, we failed.
And to Kristen's question, then as part of this, you'll help them understand the cost and what it entails.
Yeah. We'll talk about the cost, we'll talk about the options, and we want to make sure we support them and help them, because that's our mission, right? We're doing that not just for the money, right? I mean, this is a mission for both of us to help change the tech industry to get more underrepresented talent there.
And I love that a lot.
Yeah, I can figure out why women are not represented as much as they wanted to be. Why? So we're trying to change it.
I can tell you got me excited about this program. So, and then we have a couple of minutes. So before we wrap up, do you have any advice for people starting out in terms of what are some of the early mistakes that people have made as they have started in the world of tech, and how can we avoid those pitfalls? So I'll start with you, Limor.
Yeah, I mean, I started as a student, actually. I was snitched by a company who kind of, hired people and paid their tuition. So it was very, they knew what they're doing, but I was not happy with the work I was doing when I was a student. It was a student job. I was working on mainframe, COBOL, ancient stuff. What I noticed is that people got stuck on where they started instead of evolving. And I hated what I was doing in the first year, and I really pushed myself out of there. Back then it was Java was the shiny new thing. So I pushed myself to get into Java and to learn new technologies. And I saw people who just got stuck where they started. So it doesn't matter where you start and what was your first job or whatever, you can always change that.
Very good advice.
Yeah. My little advice is just start something, okay? Because the path is long and full of stumbling and rising and everything, but you have to start. And you see, if you are consistent, it will be okay at the end. So don't afraid.
Thank you. And I love that advice because, as I was saying recently, I've developed an interest in how can I get there to the next level. So thank you. I really, really enjoyed talking to both of you. So please reach out to Limor and Shahr on the information that they provided you for more information. Thank you, Meg, for hosting. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the week.
Bye. Thank you all.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye.